Okay, I'm going to do a complete setup on this Doheny G&L. The nut needs a little attention. Somebody cut one of the slots down too low. So I got to figure out how I'm going to fix that. And I'm going to lightly dress these frets. I'm going to use my fret rocker. I'll be looking for high frets. So I'll go over the whole thing. I'll use my straight edge to get it straight. But first I'll mask it off. And then I'll adjust these frets and we'll get it together and set it up because I'm dying to play this. I played it for like 5 minutes. I just couldn't believe what a treble and a bass pot can do for a guitar. Every guitar should be like that, not just a dumb tone control. But anyway, I'm going to start working on these frets, so I got to get busy. Here we go. I always use a pick to push the tape down into the corner. Works real good. All right, I got the neck straight with my straight edge here. So next I'm going to use my rocker to see if I got any frets that are not pushed down all the way. So now I've went over this whole fretboard, and you see the black marker on top of the frets, and the dots, that's frets that are not pushed down all the way. And I'll show you what that looks like here. Okay, well, see how rocks on there? This one's really bad. This one would really kill the action up high. You don't want one fret taller than the rest. You want them all even. So what I'm going to basically do is hand sand all these tall ones. And I'll go back over them and check it. And when it doesn't, hear it rocking, hear it clicking. When they stop doing that, then I'll dress all the frets. That's bad. We don't want that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm using 320. Not too aggressive. I don't want to really get too aggressive. I'm going to sand it down. Note that I'm rolling the edges a little bit. And then I'm just going to... Still rocking. So I'm just going to keep doing this until they're absolutely straight. They're flush on all of them. Okay, now I'm going to try to get a little bit of relief. I'm not going to use the file on all the frets. I'll use my radius block. But down here, I just want to make all these even, and I want to get a little bit of relief. All right, there's my 12th fret. So I might go a little bit more because they're pretty tall frets. All right, I'm going to stop there. Now I'm going to dress all of them with my 12-inch radius block. Okay, I'm going to go with 400. Okay, I went all the way up to 2,500, and you don't have to do that, but I mean, look at these frets, and I haven't even polished them yet. So I'm going to get out the rest of the whatever marks. I'm going to use this. Works really good. So I'm going to polish them, then we can get working on the nut. Okay, now the nut on this G&L was one of the slots. I think it was the D. Is it the D? It's hard to tell. It doesn't want to focus on it, but it was cut too short. And what I need to do is I could either fill some powder in, which I'm getting from this other nut. I could drop some powder in there, and then I could hit it with some super glue and fill it that. But I don't want to do that. What I'm going to do is get powder from this other nut, from sanding it, and I'm going to glue it onto the bottom. Then I'll clean up the sides and it'll sit in there, but it'll be a little bit up so I can have enough clearance on where they went too far, and then I'll recut the nut. It's pretty simple. Okay, I decided I'm going to use 5-minute epoxy. I've got the powder here, and I've got the nut taped down, and I sanded it flat on the bottom to make sure I have something for the glue to contact with. I'm going to mix the epoxy with this powder, a little bit from this one, but from another plastic nut that I had. And I'm going to mix it together, lay it across there, and I'll let it dry really good, and then I'll straighten it out after that. Here is a really important tip I'm going to give you about using 5-minute epoxy. When you buy a tube of this stuff, test it first, because I got some epoxy that didn't harden, and I was doing a fret job, and I laid the epoxy in the frets, in the slots, and I put the frets in. It never hardened. And what a gooey mess that was. So always test it first. Always mix it for a full minute. Mix it really good. Okay, I think that's probably enough powder in there. So I'll start laying it out here. Just like that. Now I want to make sure to cover the whole bottom. Spread it around a little bit. You got a few minutes to work it. Okay, this is really unnecessary. I could do this by hand, but you know what? I'm not. I'm gonna use this. These things are gonna be beautiful. I'm gonna have the nicest frets around because I took a little more time. Polished to perfection. Wow, that looks beautiful. Now I want to get all that residue off. So I'm going to work it with these paper towels. They get nice and dirty. Here we go. All right, they're all polished. And now I'm going to put some lemon oil on like I normally do. And as always, I use these little chamois wipes for VCRs. I think I'm on the wrong side. Yeah, there we go. Because I don't want this stuff on the frets. Okay, as this stuff is drying, I can start working on the nut. It's dry now. So here I've got my file. I'm going to put a little sandpaper on top of it. And I'm just going to work this. Till I get it totally flat, which doesn't look like it's going to take very long. Try to keep it nice and square. Yeah, that's working great. Okay, we got the nut pretty much situated, so we're going to attach the neck to the body. Get the body's kind of in pieces. We'll get this all together and we'll start setting it up. I'm going to go with some 10 to 46s for now. I usually like 9s, but this had some heavy strings on it, but it played really nice because it's got some pretty big frets on it, so I'm excited to get this set up. I always use the locking method. Here's how I do it. And you got to kind of look over here too. I like to get about that much slack, at least that much slack, at least. So the string goes around and underneath itself. You see that? Underneath itself. Then you kink it over like that. So the string locks down on itself. It's a pretty simple concept. That is the locking string method. Capiche? Okay, I got the strings on, and it looks like doing that little nut trick has given me what I needed there at the nut, because it was just about dragging. The neck is super straight right now. So when I do cut the nut, which will be in a couple of minutes, that one will probably almost get nothing done to it. The other ones are crazy high. I don't know, it's weird. But I'm gonna take care of it. And then I'll get the bridge, because I want it to be floating. I don't want it to be like this. I want it to be flat. You can see how it's laying down. I'll adjust the springs in the back. So right now I want to get the strings stretched, and I'll start cutting this nut. Interesting, as the G&L base that I had, you can see this is all the way down, and I need the action to go down a bit lower. The G&L base that I had the same issue. So what I did was I took the block off and I sanded the bottom of it. I could like sand right there, but I don't want to do that. It's got a chrome finish. I don't care if it comes off on the back where you can't see it, but this needs to go down a little bit, and obviously it can't go down anymore. So basically I'm taking the saddle on the E string and just I can't really do it with one hand, but sanding it, and I already got quite a bit off. I measured it with this, so I'm going to work this a little bit more. Okay, I got the guitar all together. I did put 10s on it, and it didn't play good. It didn't like 10s at all, which is kind of odd. So I put 9 to 42s on it. Here's the strings here, half rounds. They feel pretty cool. Not quite flat wound. So it's like 9 to 42, kind of like a Pink Slinky set, and it plays perfect now. And I have enough room on the saddle there to go up or down. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm sanding the back of it just to make it a little narrower. And yeah, it's really good now. It's all set up and ready to play. I really like the treble and the bass. Treble cut, bass cut. There's so many different variations with the two pickups when you can take the bass out or take some treble out. Every guitar should have that. But yeah, the guitar is together and playing real good. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll be doing a review on it next.